Today, I will be researching how the introduction of educational television programming, such as Sesame Street, impacted American society from 1969 to the 1990s. Let's discover how Sesame Street impacted American society during these times, but let us look into the historical background first. Before Sesame Street, over half of school districts lacked kindergarten. To address this education gap, Brown v. the Board of Education believed that a universal kindergarten and preschool would be beneficial, but instead, universal television was prevalent during this period. In 1966, Joan Gaines Cooney and colleagues published a study on teaching underprivileged kids basic skills with educational programs that are entertaining for viewers. The report helps lead to funding for the program through several companies, leading to the creation of the Children's Television Workshop. Sesame Street, released by the Children's Television Workshop in 1969, aims to help children with age-appropriate lessons to promote social and educational skills. The show was spread globally by adapting to local cultures and educational needs. Sesame Street's goal is to help every child grow smarter, stronger, and kinder through iconic characters and outreach in communities. Let's discover how Sesame Street affected American society and education from 1969 to the 1990s.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Sesame Street has effectively provided educational opportunities to children in isolated communities, enabling them to receive the same level of education as urban middle-class children. Active viewers of the show have shown a higher level of understanding in certain areas, being 64% of students in math, 35% of students in verbal skills, and 42% of students in social skills. However, this has also created challenges for schools with less advanced curriculums, as Sesame Street graduates may have more advanced knowledge than school's curriculum. This has created issues for teachers who may not have the resources to keep up with the Sesame Street graduates. Over 74% of teachers don't have the resources to use Sesame Street emerged by the Department of Health, Education and Welfare, or provided no information. To address this, it is recommended that school districts adapt to the Sesame Street program for in-class learning. 51% of districts who have taken a sample from a study reported that Sesame Street approaches to teaching were encouraged. 32% of districts have reported using Sesame Street as a part of district instructional material. Additionally, 64% of teachers have reported using Sesame Street in their standard curriculum. Sesame Street has been able to greatly impact education, but it also affects diversity in television and American society. Let's look into what Sesame Street did for diversity.
I won't forget. I remember. Loaf of bread, a container of milk, and a stick of butter.
Sesame Street has helped African Americans and non-Hispanic children from being left behind in school. Before Sesame Street, a study showed that the rate for low-income students had grown by over 40%. A big test gap between white and black students rose over time because of this. Another study has shown that low-income boys who spend about 5.5 hours on television daily are usually the lowest performing students. Sesame Street has aided 16% of children who were left behind to get back on track in class. This comprised 13.7% of Black and non-Hispanic students in areas with resources. Sesame Street was the first show to have an interracial cast on American television during the time. This brought characters such as Matt Robinson and many more. Matt Robinson played Gordon, who was a teacher on Sesame Street. Gordon would teach young people. He was an educated black man, which was rare to see on television during the time. Matt Robinson was a major influence on the show and on the cast. Matt was able to influence cast members such as Sonia. He inspired Sonia to make political acts on the show. For example, a fruit cart was shown on the show with many fruits. With Sonia's suggestion, they added more diverse foods to the cart that you would normally see in a Latino neighborhood. During the second season of Sesame Street, the show would introduce bilingual skills into the show's curriculum. From this, they introduced a new character such as Miguel. Miguel would receive backlash from the Spanish-speaking community about Sesame Street's views on Latin Americans. To help fight this, the show would find new actors and new techniques for teaching bilingual skills. They would introduce new characters such as Maria, Rafael, and Luis. Viewership from Hispanic viewers would double. To increase the viewership of Spanish-speaking bilingual children, they would involve the characters in Spanish viewers, but also English viewers. Sesame Street would later add sections of the show in Spanish. The show would also take actors' suggestions on how to portray bilingual skills on Sesame Street. Sesame Street has impacted diversity along with showing real-world issues on television as well. Let's look into how Sesame Street showed these topics on television and how it impacted American society.
I'm awfully fond of you. Vote.
Sesame Street has tackled real-world issues in their shows such as adoption, death, and racism. In one scene, Big Bird learns about adoption from Gordon and Susan, who explain that some children need to be taken care of, such as the baby they are adopting, Miles. In another episode, the show covers the topic of death by using Big Bird as a way to explain it to a younger audience after the character Mr. Hooper passes away. Finally, Sesame Street addresses racism through characters like Gina and Savion, who are angered by a racist phone call suggesting they shouldn't be friends due to their different races. The show emphasizes that color has nothing to do with being friends. These episodes demonstrate Sesame Street's commitment to tackling important issues sensitively and appropriately.
La 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 la, Elmo's world. Elmo loves his
Sesame Street has had a positive impact on American society by educating children and addressing real-world issues such as COVID-19 and the death of George Floyd. The show continues to offer a broad curriculum that includes social skills, numbers, and letters. Sesame Street effectively communicates with children and society using characters in social media. It will continue to educate children for years to come.